Let's address the subject matter that I talked about before, and we're talking about Colorado. And mind you, I'm from back east. I'm not even from around here. And the laws back east and back east have been established for decades and centuries. It's like Colorado. The only difference is back east is not backward. They have a successful rail system. They have a successful transportation system, infrastructure of roads, and even use tunnels to abort heavy traffic. That Colorado mind you got to get on that mindset, because your architecture, as far as your infrastructure and your roads and highways, is a debacle. And your corps of engineers, that whoever you hire to do this work, pretty much like your courts and your laws, is corrupt. You're making money hand over fist and you're not doing anything. Now, we can sit here and argue the point all day. And from the people that I've talked to who went through the Colorado court system, you don't care. Taxpayers, your citizens, your residents that live in Colorado, from Denver to Brighton to Platteville, Greeley, all over the state of Colorado that you call a progressive state. But yet and still, you justify your corruption. And your corruption has many forms. And I wrote you an email, Mayor and Governor, and I'm talking about the Congressman of Colorado too. All of you so-called governing body of Colorado, that you sit in your bureaucratic, plutocratic, capitalist, fascist positions of do nothing. And I'm not going on a negative rant like I went on last time when I addressed this issue. I'm actually going to remain calm and collected and try to address the common decency. Laws, and the creator of laws is like the Almighty God, and He was fair in everything that He did. He didn't have preference whether you had money or whether you didn't have money. You didn't have preference of where you came from, where you were born, where you were raised, whether your gender, ethnicity. But your laws are not like God's laws. They're not just. They're not fair. They're discriminative. They're false. It's like criminals trying to govern decent people. And I'm not saying in a demeaning way. I'm saying that to address, if you stop somebody, and I'm not saying that what I did was right, but after 68 years of my life, and a lot of that time I was driving, ever since I was 13. I mean, I wasn't driving on the road, I was driving on the farm. And I was stopped one time for being under the influence. I wasn't weaving all over the highway. I didn't hit anybody. Didn't get in an accident. The road signs, which are atrocious here in Colorado. It was late at night in Platteville, Wells County, which I'm not used to being because I live in Boulder County. And a cop pulled me over for supposedly going the wrong way. I corrected my turn if he actually told the truth. Because once I seen a sign that said do not enter, and it was nighttime, and I'm 68 years old, and my vision is not like it used to be. And if he was honest about the situation, I made a correct turn to go right. Never did an officer any problems. Did everything he told me to do. Breathalyzer test, the whole walking thing. That's not the issue. The issue is that when, for a common misdemeanor in any court, and Colorado can get on that bandwagon all they want and talk about making it a federal law. Unless you killed somebody, unless you caused bodily harm or damage or any of these things, you can't hold a person to the accountability that you do. And I mean to the level of extremism. That you take a person, you lock a person up, you put them in some orange suit, with orange suits, some prison gear, like you're some kind of federal criminal, like you're a drug addict or you're a murderer or a terrorist. You put ankle bracelets on, handcuffs. It's totally idiotic. It just is. And being a Christian man, I look at things on both sides. Yes, I did something that was wrong. But the treatment didn't warrant what I did wrong. And to stand before a judge on a Sunday in ankle bracelets, or shackles, whatever you want to call them, like you're some kind of slave off the cotton field. And the officer who wrote the original ticket didn't put down the results of the breathalyzer test. And you go ahead and you put all that before the prosecutor. and they go through this whole thing about plea bargaining, which is nothing but a scam and a con game. And you get slapped with ridiculous fines than any other state I lived in. I mean, thousands upon thousands of dollars. And everything that they put you in, like you're some kind of alcoholic. Which you drink because your girlfriend went to a wedding and you went to step out to have some fun. And granted, it was irresponsible to drink and drive. I get that. But the penalties don't warrant a mistake. And as much as you want to sit there in that arrogant, self-righteous, egotistical mindset that you people do here in your court system. And I'm not talking about a repeated offender. I'm not talking about a person who actually has an alcohol problem or has a drug problem. I'm not talking about people like that because they need help. But an average person who just made a dumb mistake, you're going to treat them just like you treat one of those people. Or treat them like you treated a common criminal. A thug, a gangster. This is the problem I have with it. And let's talk about civil rights. That you treat people with decency and respect. Most states will give you a fine. You get a taxi, you go home, you stand before the judge. It'll be court costs and a fine, and you're done. Here, it's an absolute madhouse of just putting people in financial debt. Your mayors, your governors, your congressmen, your senators in this state, you people seriously need to reevaluate your laws and reevaluate your court system and reevaluate your fines, because it's inhumane and uncivilized to charge people the amount of money that you charge people. You want somebody to go to alcohol awareness meeting, $100. You want someone to go to counseling, another $50. You want someone to go to the intervention and get tested every week. Was $10, now it's $15 a hit. You charge people a fine for Alcoholic Anonymous, children for alcoholism. Whatever thing you want to create in your heads to extort money from somebody, you come up with a simple fine that's maybe $150 at best. You're charging close to $4,000. And in some cases, tens of thousands of dollars. And you don't think that's criminal. And I told and to boot, you get a probation officer like you committed some serious crime, which is totally asinine and pathetic. And you have that probation officer for 18 months. What happens to you when you do have a serious alcohol problem and you get into an accident and you seriously hurt somebody? You give them the electric chair? It's ridiculous. And then you're in court, and people who you're repeated offenders get less of a penalty than you do. Oh, but they happen to be white. But you want to put a black man in an orange suit and orange shoes with ankle shackles on, like he's some kind of federal criminal. But you justify that, though. I'm just trying to understand the mentality. And you're supposed to be judges. You're supposed to be lawmakers. You're supposed to be governors and mayors and senators and congressmen. And you allow this to happen? For how long now? And it's not just me complaining. I've talked to many people who hold the same mindset that I do. That the unfairness that you treat people. And this has been going on for years. Somehow there has to be a sensible intellect when you actually implement laws. And here's another thing. Those laws that you imposed upon me, would you impose those same laws on your children? Would the judge impose those same laws on his children? Would the prosecuting attorney impose those laws on his children? Would the mayor, governor, impose those laws on his children? Or his golf buddy? Or his tennis buddy? That's where we have a problem with laws. Because once you treat preference on anybody with those laws, they're no longer laws. They become illegal, null and void. Because you just abuse those laws. Because you put preference on those laws. Where those laws get implemented and where they don't. Based on friendship. Based on social standings. Based on monetary standings. Based on where you live. Gender. Ethnicity. Where you live. In Denver or wherever. Platteville. Longmont. Whatever. That's when those laws become illegal. Just like your fines. And what got my goat is that my insurance company tells me that my license is suspended. My license never got suspended. But I can't put insurance on my car because somebody put it out there that my license is suspended. And I got into a minor accident the other day. And the officer that was there said nothing about my license being suspended. And he ran my license. So even in that same court system that you have, it's incompetent. In one aspect, you put out there as far as an insurance company that my license is suspended. But this high cost insurance you want someone to get into, my license is not suspended. So what is it? Is it suspended or it's not? And your first offense, your license don't get suspended anyway. First of all, it's a misdemeanor, not a federal offense. So my whole thing was, and trying to sit here as a Christian man, what's the course for me to take? And the only course that I know to take is to correct the abuse of my civil rights. And that is to bring a civil lawsuit against the state of Colorado. Because that's exactly what you did. You abused my civil rights. When you talk about liberty and justice for all, that's not justice. That's the abuse of justice. To treat a person in such a manner as you have treated me. And I normally, if I get stopped for speeding or something like that, and I know I did, I'm not going to complain. I'll just pay the fine and go ahead with it. But in this situation, no. And like I told my probation officer, I appeal. In the first video I've done, I said I appeal because it's criminal. The amount of financial burden you put on people, and I'm talking about taxpayers, people that work every day. And I'm retired and I work every day. I'm on Social Security and I work every day just to live here. Because your average salary for a single person to live here is $54,000 a year. And if there's two of you living in one household, you're going to need more than that. So double that. It's like $120,000 a year. And no working class person is making that kind of money. No working class person I know. So governor, mayor, congressman, senator, I tell all of you, with this new governor coming in which you probably need a new mayor too and a new congressman of everything that's been going on in Colorado. Just like you abuse homeless people, you'll build hundreds and thousands of apartments and condominiums and homes, but you build nothing for the homeless. And that's another issue. Not this time. So just like I wrote you, I'm going to keep you at fault for the reason why my insurance company want to insure me. And I'm going to put you at fault for abusing my civil rights, putting me in an orange suit and orange shoes and ankle bracelets like I'm some kind of common criminal or some slave out of a cotton field. I'm going to take you responsibility for my financial burden that now has put me in debt, which is ridiculous, and the points off my license, and my insurance company for dropping me. You want to justify your criminal court system and the cost and the abuse of your court system. Why I'm going to file a civil lawsuit against the state of Colorado. And I want you to know, mayor, governor, and congressman, and senators, I will be calling your office and letting you know. And my attorney that I'm going to acquire will be calling your office also. Because someone has to stand up and correct this. And as a Christian man, it is my sworn duty to do so, to right the wrongs that you have imposed upon innocent people. Now, I'm not saying those who drink and drive on a regular basis, they need help. But a person who just makes a dumb mistake doesn't need to go through the abuse and extortion that you put them through on a regular basis. So be warned. I will see you in court. And you will correct the wrong that you have imposed upon me and my family. The financial burden, the embarrassment, the criminality, the cruelty that you imposed upon me for no reason. And the only reasons I can come up with is that I'm a black man. There is no other reason. I'm done.